Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel where we talk about all things to do with machine embroidery, running a small business from home and garment decoration. I also do a few product reviews of crafty kind of products, so if that sort of thing interests you, you might consider subscribing to my channel. In today's video we're going to be reviewing a product I haven't reviewed before by a brand which has never sent anything to me before. This is the Creality Falcon A1. It is a diode laser. And in this video I'm going to be demonstrating the product and you can draw your own conclusions as to whether or not this laser is right for you. I'm going to use a variety of different materials and we'll see what works well with the laser and what doesn't. But before we get stuck into lasering, I thought I'd give you some tech specs about the machine. The Falcon A1 has a 10 watt laser and a working area of 381mm by 305mm, so not quite an A4 piece of paper size, but still reasonably big for a desktop laser. It also comes with air assist and a built-in camera in the laser's cover, which captures like a fisheye perspective of the work area. We'll be testing the camera accuracy later on. Unlike other diode lasers, the Falcon A1 comes encased. That orange kind of perspex or acrylic you can see surrounding the laser is actually a protective casing, which means you can look at the laser while it's working. However, I still wouldn't recommend doing this because I did stare at the laser for a little bit while it was working, and when I stopped, my eyes felt like they were buzzing. So I think the protective casing is great for quick glances, but try not to stare into it for too long. The laser does also come with some very basic free software, which is great if you're purchasing designs and importing them in, but if not and you want to design your own designs and fiddle around a little bit more, then it is also compatible with Lightburn, which I understand is the more sophisticated software. So here is my collection of things that I wanted to practice on. I'm also going to be trying to engrave, etch, I don't know the correct terminology, do something to a denim jacket because I had this idea of the laser kind of like bleaching the material of the denim jacket and like leaving a cool design on there that might be quicker to do than embroidery, which is normally how I decorate my jackets. And I also wanted to do it on a shirt. So those aren't pictured at the moment, but I purchased the chopping board from Poundland and the loofah from Poundland. I already had some acrylic and some 3mm plyboard, and then you can see I've also done some embroidery patches which I wanted to use to test the laser accuracy. Now, I'm not going to let you continue through this video and think, oh great, she has engraved on all of these products, because unfortunately it was a rather disappointing exercise. While the laser does raise up and down, it did not raise high enough to engrave on either the loofah or the chopping board. Which teaches me a lesson. I mean, I really should have measured how high the laser head came before purchasing either product. After consulting with some people who also own the Falcon A1 laser in a Facebook group, there is apparently a workaround for this, and it involves unscrewing and dropping the bed of the laser and then stacking the laser itself up on either blocks or books to give you the laser that height clearance it needs to engrave on thicker items. I'm not going to be doing that in this video, but if it is something you'd like to see in the future, please leave a comment and I'll get around to it. Because I want to make all of the products companies send to me work for me and my business, the first thing I tried etching on was denim. I had this idea to etch large designs onto a denim jacket because I thought, because it's a diode laser, I'd be able to etch onto my material with the lower door of the laser open, as you can see here in the video, and then the jacket material would hang outside of the laser. Unfortunately, that isn't the case, as the door has to remain shut in order for the laser to function, and so I ended up having to put the jacket in, the whole of the jacket, inside the laser box. These were my results from etching onto the jacket. As you can see, I had to play around with the settings quite a bit in order to stop the diode laser from burning completely through the material. I did eventually get the results I wanted, and I will put the settings I used on screen now to get that kind of faded, almost bleached effect on the material. However, I would say the lasering didn't come out as sort of defined or brilliant white as I kind of planned on the light denim. However, on the dark cotton denim shirt, the lasering turned out really well. You can see there's a strong contrast between the lasering and the black of the shirt. Next, I thought I would try engraving and cutting out from a material that is most commonly associated with diode lasers and CO2 lasers, and that is the 3mm plywood. In the Falcon Design Space software, they actually have presets for cutting out most materials, particularly different types of wood. So I was able to use that preset to get the best results for cutting out on my plywood. As you can see here, the engraving is very detailed, and the laser cut out the design with just one pass. So I was quite impressed with that. Because it's such a weak laser, I expected to have to use more than one pass. And within about 5 minutes, the laser gave me this very cute design that I could potentially turn into a magnet or something, or give as a gift. This was one of the inbuilt designs in that Falcon Design Space software. The design software has a small collection of designs to get you started on your laser, so I opted to cut out that banana shape on the 3mm plywood, which I just selected all of it and then scaled it down. There wasn't really any massive loss of detail, and the next thing I decided to try and cut out was on 3mm acrylic. So again, I chose an image and scaled it down. But there wasn't any offset line to cut it out, so I had to create my own offset line myself, and that was really easily done using the offset tool. You have the option to add curved edges or edges with more sharp corners, and all you do is select the offset tool, select like how much of an offset you want around the design, and press OK. But then that line you need to then turn into a cutting line, or else it'll just engrave like the rest of the image. So I did this by creating a new layer, choosing line cutting, and then assigning that cut line to that cutting layer. And you can see it's a bluish color now rather than the black. This design did take a little while longer to cut out than the plywood. I think the banana took me about 5 or 6 minutes to complete, whereas this one took me more like 15, as the because it's being cut out of acrylic, we had to do 2 or 3 passes around the outside of the design in order for the laser to cut through the acrylic. But when it was done, I removed the protective film, and this was the end result. Next was cutting the patches out in the felt and testing out the laser accuracy. This turned into a little bit of a learning curve, because although I had already once cut out patches from white felt using this product off screen, when I tried to record it, as you can see, the laser did not leave a mark at all on the white felt. And I have no idea why this would be. I reached out to Creality and they said it could be to do with white felt not absorbing the laser to cut it out. But then in that case, why did it cut out before when I wasn't filming and it wouldn't cut out now? I used a bunch of different settings. I also cut out in very bright light and also very low light in case that was the issue, was the material wasn't absorbing the laser light. But ultimately I had to give up on trying to cut out these cat patches and continue the test using black felt instead. So the theory is that black absorbs the light better and then you cut through the material, which I know works because I did perform a few test runs before recording this. And now we're ready to look at the camera quality and its accuracy when cutting around an object on the laser bed. The Falcon A1 takes a photo of whatever is beneath the camera. It does have a very basic trace function, but I found this didn't really work unless you're cutting out an image with a very high contrast, which technically I am here, but it was picking up details within the ghost embroideries, which I didn't want to cut out. So I decided it would just be easier to trace around the patches using the pen tool, which is a part of the software. Another way of doing this might have been better to have the cut lines already designed and then import those cut lines into the software and sort of drag and drop them over the image. So I very roughly traced around all three of the ghosts using the pen tool. I didn't take a particularly long time to do this, but I wanted to make sure that none of the ghosts were going to be cut with the laser. So I let a little bit of an allowance around each of the ghosts to protect the embroidery. Then using the inbuilt settings within the Falcon design space, I selected a material from that drop down menu with all of the presets, which I thought would be appropriate to cut around these patches. In this case, I went for the option which was leather. There was actually a specific option saying felt paper, but I didn't quite know how comparable paper would be to about 1.5 millimeters of acrylic felt. So I went for the option of leather, knowing it would be a little bit overkill and should definitely cut through the material. This footage isn't sped up. This is the exact speed of that 10-watt diode laser cutting around each individual patch. It does this very quickly and it cut through the material with just one pass. I was very pleased. When we take the ghosts out of the machine now, I'll let you decide whether or not the camera is accurate enough for your tastes. So there you can see the ghosts are cut out of the felt. And if I just pick them up here, you can see how crisp those lines are. There's no fraying around the edges of the embroidery, but if I hold them up to the laptop screen monitor, you can see how the actual cutouts compare to the cut lines in the software. Now, I know this might be a little bit tricky to see, but there is a thin black line running around the edge of each ghost. Those are my cut lines. You might want to pause the video to have a good look at how the cutout of each ghost compares to the actual outline in the software to compare the accuracy. I do think I could have done a better job at creating really smooth outlines, but I wanted to do everything within the software to see how the software worked, and also I didn't want to spend too much time on it because when I'm cutting out my patches I do try to do it fairly quickly for production reasons, and obviously the faster you can do something the more profit you make out of it. And that was all of the products I cut out using this diode laser. I do think that this laser performed best on acrylic and also on the 3mm plywood. Doing things like cutting out the embroidery patches, etching on the denim. It didn't really go how I planned. But if you are looking at purchasing this product for starting like a laser business, and traditionally lasers do tend to gravitate more towards plywood and acrylic, then I do think this product is a very good piece of starter kit, particularly as it does have that camera. Would I say the camera is the most accurate camera? No, but I do think it's good for giving you a rough idea of where the laser is going to start firing on your substrate. And for the price point, I also think this is very appealing. I think it comes to under £600, which compared to my first laser, which I bought, was the Beambox Pro. I think that was in the thousands, maybe 4,500. So you can see there is a very big price difference. And this laser, in terms of cutting out plywood, does almost the exact same as what the Beambox Pro does. But obviously that Beambox is a 60-watt CO2 laser. It's a lot more powerful, but you can still do similar things on this product, which is great if you're just looking at starting out a business or if you're purchasing it for hobbyist reasons. I also like the fact that it is relatively compact. It does feel like good solid quality, and it sits very neatly on top of a desk. So if all of these things are appealing to yourself, then I will leave the link to this product down in the description below, and you can check out the laser for yourself on Creality's website. I hope this video will help you make an informed decision on this product. If you have any further questions, please leave them down in the comment section below. And also, if you'd like to see more of my content, please consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.